The entire wedding went silent. 300 guests, frozen, staring at the woman who just walked in. The bride's face went white. The groom's jaw dropped, and someone in the crowd whispered, "Oh my God, is that her? Who was she? And why did one woman's entrance destroy an entire wedding?" Stay with me. Before we begin, let me ask you something. Have you ever been invisible? Not because you chose to be, but because the world decided you weren't worth seeing? Drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from. Now, let me tell you Anna's story. The marble floors gleamed like mirrors under the crystal chandeliers. Click, click, click. Designer heels echoed to the corridor of the glass tower, where money didn't just talk. It shouted. Where wealth wasn't just possessed, it was paraded. And there, pushing her cleaning cart through this palace of privilege, was Anna, 42 years old, invisible, or at least that's what they thought. She moved through their world like a ghost, wiping their fingerprints from windows, emptying their trash, cleaning up their messes. Her hands told the story her mouth never did, calloused, scarred, strong. These were hands that had held more than mops. But nobody asked. Nobody looked. You see, when you're poor in a rich person's world, you become part of the furniture. A function, not a person. A tool, not a soul. Anna had learned this lesson the hard way. She kept her head down, her back straight, and her dignity. Well, her dignity was something she locked away deep inside, where their stares couldn't reach it. But there was one person who made sure Anna never forgot her place. Clara. If cruelty could wear Chanel, it would look like Clara. Young, beautiful, dripping in diamonds and disdain. Clara was engaged to Victoria Miles, the CEO of the company, a man so powerful that people whispered his name with reverence. But Clara, she didn't whisper anything. She announced. She commanded. She destroyed. And her favorite target? The invisible woman with the mop. Careful where you step, Clara had once sneered, her lip curling as Anna cleaned near her. This floor costs more than your entire existence. Anna had swallowed the words like poison and kept cleaning, because what choice did she have? Bills don't care about your pride. Rent doesn't wait for your dignity to heal. But today felt different. Anna was cleaning the executive floor when she heard them coming. Clara and her pack of designer-clad followers, laughing like hyenas closing in on wounded prey. Anna's hands tightened around her cleaning rag. Anna. Clara's voice was sugar-coated venom. I've been looking everywhere for you. The women behind Clara giggled, covering their mouths with manicured hands. Anna turned slowly. Her heart was already bracing for impact. Clara held up a cream-colored envelope, sealed with gold foil, the kind of invitation that belonged to a world Anna had no business entering. I have something special for you, Clara purred, her smile sharp as broken glass. She extended the envelope, like a queen bestowing a favor. Anna stared at it. Every instinct screamed, this is a trap. It's an invitation, Clara announced loudly, making sure her friends could hear. To my wedding, this Saturday, at the Grand Magnolia Estate. The women behind her erupted in barely contained laughter. Not everyone gets invited to something like this, Clara continued, her eyes glittering with malice. So, try to dress nicely. We wouldn't want people thinking you're part of the cleaning staff. The laughter exploded. One of the women actually doubled over. Unless you want to help clean up afterward, another one shrieked. Anna's face burned. Her hands trembled. Every cell in her body wanted to rip that invitation apart and throw it in Clara's perfect face. But instead, she did something that surprised even herself. She took the envelope. She looked Clara dead in the eyes, and in a voice as calm as still water before a storm, she said, "Thank you." Clara blinked. Just for a second, her mask cracked. She hadn't expected that. Anna walked away, clutching the envelope like it was evidence in a crime, because that's exactly what it was. Later that night, alone in her tiny apartment, Anna sat on her bed and stared at the invitation. You are cordially invited to the wedding of Clara Collins and Victoria Miles. Saturday, 5 p.m. Grand Magnolia Estate. Black tie. Black tie. Translation: come dress in expensive clothes you don't own. so we can laugh at you in front of everyone who matters." Anna's hands shook as the truth crystallized. This wasn't an invitation. It was a public execution. They wanted her to come. They wanted her to feel small. They wanted to parade her in front of their world like a circus act. Look at the poor janitor who thought she belonged. Anna's vision blurred. The tears came fast and hot, years of them, pouring out all at once. Tears for every time someone looked through her, instead of at her. Tears for every insult she swallowed. Tears for the life she used to have, the woman she used to be. And then, through her tears, her eyes fell on something across the room. A photograph. Crooked, faded, hanging on the wall like a ghost. Her mother. Simple dress. Radiant smile. Eyes that held the whole world with kindness. And suddenly, Anna heard her voice, clear as day. "Dignity isn't something people give you, baby. It's something you carry. Even when the whole world tells you you're nothing." Anna wiped her tears. Something shifted inside her chest. Something that had been sleeping for too long. She stood up, walked to her closet, and pulled down a dusty wooden box from the top shelf. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Inside were photographs, but not of this life. In these photos, Anna looked different, confident, powerful, standing on stages, shaking hands with community leaders, cutting ribbons, smiling with purpose. And there, beneath the photos, was a certificate with bold letters. Anna Adabio, founder and director, Adabio Foundation. Anna's breath caught. That was her name. Her real name. The name the world had forgotten. Let me tell you who Anna Adabio really was. Her father was a businessman, a pillar of the community. He didn't just make money. He made opportunities. He built schools. He funded scholarships. He gave young people hope. Her mother was a teacher whose wisdom touched hundreds of lives. And Anna was her legacy. She went to university. She studied social work. And at 28, she founded the Adabio Foundation, an organization that gave scholarships to underprivileged kids, that mentored young entrepreneurs, that lifted people out of poverty. Anna Adabio was somebody, until she wasn't. It happened fast. Money went missing. Not stolen by her, but stolen in her name by someone she trusted. Court cases, accusations, debt, shame. And then her parents died, within 6 months of each other. Her father's heart gave out. Her mother simply faded away. Everything collapsed. The foundation shut down. The house was seized. The car was repossessed. Anna lost everything, except her life. And sometimes, survival means becoming invisible. It means taking whatever job you can get. It means pushing a mop and pretending you were never queen. But now, sitting in her apartment, holding her mother's picture, Anna remembered something important. Queens don't stop being queens just because they lose their crown. She picked up her phone. Her hand shook as she scrolled through her contacts to a name she hadn't called in 5 years. Janet, her best friend from the old days. A fashion designer who had moved to Atlanta and built an empire. Janet had told her once, "If you ever need me, Anna, you call, day or night. I will come." Anna pressed the call button. The phone rang once, twice, then, "Hello." The voice was shocked, breathless. "Anna? Oh my God, is that really you?" Anna closed her eyes. Her voice cracked. "Janet, I need your help." A pause. Then, fierce and strong, "Say no more. I'm on my way." The next morning, a sleek black SUV pulled up outside Anna's building. The door opened. Out stepped Janet. Sharp, powerful, draped in elegance and fury. She took one look at Anna and pulled her into a hug, so tight it felt like she was trying to squeeze all the broken pieces back together. "I'm so sorry I let you disappear," Janet whispered. Anna shook her head. "I chose to disappear." "Well," Janet pulled back, eyes blazing, "it's time to choose differently." They spent the entire day plotting, planning, creating. Janet opened her sketchbook and started drawing with the intensity of a woman on a mission. Anna, how do you want them to see you when you walk into that wedding? Anna's jaw tightened. Her eyes went hard. I want them to see the woman they tried to race. And I want them to know they failed. Janet smiled slowly, dangerously. Then let's make them remember. She sketched a gown, elegant, powerful, regal. Not flashy, not desperate, just undeniable. Janet, I don't have money for her. Janet held up her hand. Don't you dare. This isn't about money. This is about justice. And I don't charge for justice. They worked into the night, choosing fabric, adjusting measurements, selecting jewelry from Janet's personal collection. As the sun set, Janet held Anna's face in her hands. When you walk into that wedding, they won't see a janitor. They won't see someone to pity. They will see a queen. Anna's eyes filled with tears. I'm scared, Janet. Good, Janet whispered. Queens are always scared. That's what makes them brave. Saturday arrived like destiny. The sky was impossibly blue. The kind of blue that belongs in paintings, not real life. The Grand Magnolia Estate stood like a temple to wealth. White columns, cascading gardens, fountains that cost more than most people's homes. Expensive cars lined the circular driveway like a parade of excess. Rolls-Royce, Bentley, Maserati. Women floated through the gardens in gowns that sparkled with a year's salary. Men in tuxedos sipped champagne worth hundreds of dollars per bottle. And in the center of it all, like a spider in a diamond web, stood Clara. Her wedding dress was a masterpiece, white, flowing, encrusted with crystals. Her smile was wide and sharp. She looked around at her kingdom and felt invincible. This is going to be perfect, she whispered to one of her bridesmaids. You think she'll actually show up? The bridesmaid asked nervously. Clara laughed, a cold, beautiful sound. Please, that woman knows her place. She's not coming. But even as she said it, Clara felt something, a tiny flicker of doubt. She pushed it away and turned back to her guests, her photographers, her perfect day. And that's when everything changed. A black car rolled up to the gate. Slow, silent, elegant. The valet approached, opened the back door. First came the shoes, 6-inch black heels, simple but expensive. Then the dress. Oh, the dress. Black silk that moved like liquid shadow. Gold accents that caught the sunlight and held it. A gown that didn't scream wealth. It whispered power. And then Anna stepped out. The entire estate went silent. Conversations died mid-sentence. Champagne glasses froze halfway to lips. Photographers lowered their cameras in shock. Anna stood there, and the world stopped. Her hair was braided into an elegant crown. Her makeup was subtle but flawless. Around her neck hung a single black stone on a silver chain. Not flashy, not desperate, just regal. But it was her face that changed everything. No fear, no shame, no apology. Just a woman who knew exactly who she was. She began to walk. The white carpet beneath her feet became her runway. Every step was measured, deliberate, powerful. Her dress flowed behind her like smoke following fire. The silence was deafening. And then the whisper started. Who is that? Is she famous? She looks like royalty. Clara felt the shift before she saw it. She turned, her smile still frozen on her face. And then she saw her. Anna. The color drained from Clara's face. Her bouquet trembled in her hands. No, she whispered. No, this can't be happening. But it was. Anna walked through that crowd like Moses parting the Red Sea. People stepped aside instinctively, making way for something they couldn't name, but instantly recognized. Majesty. Clara forced herself forward, her smile now a grimace of panic. Well, she said, her voice too loud, too sharp. What a surprise. You actually came. She looked Anna up and down, searching desperately for something to mock, something to tear down. You really dressed up. The words were meant to cut, but they bounced off Anna like raindrops off stone. Anna turned to face her, slowly, calmly, and when she spoke, her voice was quiet, deadly quiet. Yes, I did dress up. A pause. And looking at you, Clara, I'd say you did too. Another pause. Longer. Sharper. Shame all that money still can't buy class. The crowd gasped. Someone dropped a champagne glass. It shattered against a marble, the sound echoing like a gunshot. Clara's face went from white to red in seconds. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish drowning in air. But before she could respond, an older gentleman stepped forward from the crowd. Distinguished. Silver-haired. His eyes were wide with recognition. "Wait," he said, his voice shaking. "Wait, is that—" He stepped closer, squinting. "Is that Anna Adabio?" The name hung in the air like thunder. Anna turned to him, and for the first time since arriving, she smiled. "Yes," she said softly. "I'm Anna Adabio." The man's hand flew to his mouth. "My God," he breathed. "I work with your father. At the foundation. You were the heart of it. Where have you been?" And just like that, the truth exploded into the open. Whispers erupted like wildfire. Adabio Foundation? That's her. I heard about them. They changed entire communities. Didn't they fund scholarships for hundreds of kids? Clara's legs buckled. She grabbed her bridesmaid's arm to stay upright. No. This wasn't supposed to happen. More people stepped forward now. People who had heard of the Adabio name. People who had been helped by the foundation. People who remembered. "Your father gave my nephew a scholarship," one woman said, tears in her eyes. "He's a doctor now because of your family. Your mother tutored my daughter." Another added, "Free of charge. She changed her life." Anna's eyes glistened, but she didn't look away. Victoria, the groom, finally looked up from his phone. He stared at Anna like he was seeing a ghost. Then he turned to Clara. His voice was low, controlled, dangerous. "Clara, what is this?" Clara's mouth opened, but no sound came out. It was just a joke," she finally stammered. "A harmless joke. I didn't know she was—" "You didn't know?" Victoria's voice cut through her like ice. "You invited someone to our wedding as a joke? To humiliate them?" He stepped closer. "Do you have any idea who this woman is? What her family did for this community?" Clara's eyes darted around desperately, searching for sympathy, for escape, for anything. She found nothing but judgment. "I'm sorry," she whispered, but it sounded hollow even in her own ears. Anna stepped forward then. Her voice wasn't loud, but somehow everyone heard it. "I didn't come here for revenge," she said. "I didn't come to ruin your day." She looked around at all the faces staring at her, some ashamed, some awed, some confused. "I came to remind you, to remind all of you, that dignity isn't measured by your bank account. It isn't measured by your clothes or your car or your job title." Her voice grew stronger. "Dignity is measured by who you are when nobody's watching, by how you treat people when they can't do anything for you, by whether you remember that every person, every single person, carries a story you know nothing about." Silence. Absolute, crushing silence. And then, from somewhere in the crowd, one person started clapping. Just one. Then another. Then another. Until the entire garden erupted in applause. People stood. Some were crying. Others were nodding, finally understanding something profound. Clara couldn't take it. She dropped her bouquet, flowers scattering across the white carpet like broken dreams, and ran. Ran from the garden. Ran from the truth. Ran from the woman she tried to destroy. As the applause continued, Anna closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Peace. For the first time in years, she felt it. Not victory. Not revenge. Just peace. Victoria approached her slowly, his head bowed. "And I had no idea. If I had known—" Anna raised her hand gently. "You didn't need to know my past to treat me with respect," she said quietly. "That's the lesson here." Victoria swallowed hard and nodded. Around them, the crowd had changed. They looked at the waiters differently now, at the security guards, at the valets. They looked at invisible people, and finally saw them. Several guests approached Anna. "If you ever rebuild the foundation, count me in. I want to donate. How can we help?" Anna smiled softly, tears finally spilling down her cheeks. Maybe, she whispered, looking up at the sky as if speaking to her parents. Maybe it's time. As she turned to leave, the crowd parted. But this time, not because they thought she didn't belong. This time, they parted out of respect, like royalty, because that's what she was. Janet waited by the car, arms crossed, a knowing smile on her face. "So," she asked as Anna approached, "was it enough?" Anna looked back at the shimmering lights, the elaborate flowers, the crystal chandeliers hanging from trees, all the things that once made her feel small. Now they just looked empty, pretty, but empty. She took a deep breath, a breath that tasted like freedom. "No," she said, her voice strong and sure. "It's not enough." Janet raised an eyebrow. Anna turned to her, eyes blazing with purpose. "This is just the beginning." Janet's smile widened. She grabbed Anna's hand and squeezed it tight. "Damn right it is. Let's go build something so powerful, they'll never dare forget your name again." The car pulled away as the sun set, painting the sky in gold and fire. Anna looked at her reflection in the window, and for the first time in years, she recognized a woman staring back. Not a janitor, not a victim, not someone who had lost, but a woman who had fallen and chosen to rise. A woman who carried her crown not on her head, but in her heart. A crown no one had given her, and no one could take away. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that every person deserves dignity and respect, hit that subscribe button, because there are millions of Annas in this world. People whose stories have been forgotten, whose voices have been silenced. And it's time we start listening. Drop a comment below and tell me, have you ever felt invisible? Have you ever been underestimated? Remember, your past doesn't define your future. Your job doesn't define your worth. You are more than what people see. You are more than your circumstances. And one day, when you're ready, you'll walk into that room and remind them who you really are. Until next time, keep rising, keep fighting, keep remembering who you are,